Long before Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, there was this. Let's talk about Child's Play with Bill Cullen in today's episode of The Wide World of Game Shows. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews presents Wide World of Game Shows. Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. I'm Joel, the Big D. This, of course, is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. And this, of course, is the second episode of the Wide World of Game Shows, where I get to talk about a lot of great game shows and how much fun I've enjoyed them. Now, as you might recall, a couple of months ago, I did the very first episode, and that would be on Buzz. But for this episode, the game show I'm going to talk about is Child's Play from Mark Goodson Productions that ran on CBS from 1982 to 1983. So, what is Child's Play, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked, my friends. Well, Child's Play is probably one of the most underrated game shows ever in my book. Anyway, it's a game that was actually the first game to be produced by Mark Goodson alone without his partner Bill Cullen, which, of course, a lot of their games were still being produced by both. I mean, like The Price is Right, for example, which came on after this in most markets, in my view. Now, this show premiered in September of 1982 at 10:30, 9:30 Central, following the new $25,000 Pyramid, which also happened to premiere that same year. Anyway, in the game, we have two grown-ups trying to guess words based on definitions given by children. The game was hosted by Bill Cullen, one of the greatest game show hosts out there, whose last series, Blockbusters, had just been canceled by NBC. And of course, this would also be Cullen's last, game to be produced for Goodson, since he's done several others, like Blockbusters, for example. And of course, he would go on to do a few others. This would be his next to last new to TV game show. Of course, his last being Hot Potato in 1984, but his last one would be the last couple of seasons of The Joker's Wild in syndication. The announcer of the game was legendary announcer Gene Wood, who of course was already currently doing the announcing for Family Feud, which was still on ABC at the time. It also recently did the announcing for other previous Goodson Tommen games, such as Card Sharks, which would later be brought back on CBS a few years later, as well as Password Plus, and several others. Oh yeah, and Tattletales, which was in its next to last season on CBS at the time. But a lot of others as well. Also, he was the primary announcer for the entire run. Johnny Gilbert, of course, you know, the announcer of Jeopardy! And Bob Hilton, who was the original announcer for Blockbusters, who also did the announcing for the pilot episode, filled in on occasion. Now, Cullen first plugged the show during his only appearance on Bob Barker's The Price is Right that year. Of course, Cullen actually hosted the original Price is Right back in the 50s and 60s. Anyway, enough said about this. So, what's the game like? Well, here we go. Two contestants competed against each other. The object of the game was to correctly identify words based on videotaped definitions given by elementary school children. Ages 5 to 9. The game was played in 2 rounds. In the first round, a word was given to the home audience and a video clip of a child defining the word was played. For example, the child states, it's something you use to unlock a door to a house or a car. And that's a definition of key. Now, if by any chance any incriminating words, including the word itself, were censored. Now, once the clip ended, the contestant had a chance to guess the word. A correct response earned them 1 point. If the contestant was incorrect, his or her opponent viewed a clip of another child defining the same word. If the opponent was wrong, control passed back to the first contestant, who saw one final clip. But if they're still wrong, Cullen announced the correct answer and no points are awarded. The first round continued with the players alternating control on words. Originally, the winner of the previous word played first on each new word until the first commercial break. The next round would be fast play, which this one was my favorite part. Now, both contestants were given the opportunity to guess what word the child was defined by hitting a buzzer to interrupt the video clip and guess the word. Now, if you've never seen the show, when you watch the fast play round, the buzzer goes like this. Well, I kind of can do an imitation. That's actually the same buzzer that's used on Family Feud and also the short-lived Goodson Todman produced game The Better Six. Now then, let's see. Now points are doubled for each correct answer. But if an incorrect answer is given, the rest of the clip will be played for the opponent before they give an opportunity to guess. So they keep on playing. When the school bell rings, that means the game's over, and whoever has the most points will go on to the final round. If by any chance the game ended in a tie, one additional word was played. Now, in the first 3 episodes, which I'm not sure I recall seeing, but maybe if they're up here, fast play was played in 2 halves, with school bell ringing twice. In the first half, answers were worth 1 point and doubled after the bell rang the first time. Also, if a contestant buzzed in with an incorrect guess, the opponent got to see the entire clip from the beginning again. This rule was discontinued in favor of the rules above. Also, if a returning champ beats an opponent a few times, they get to return for an additional 4 days, but as long as they don't get beaten, and then they retire. Alright, now there were 2 different bonus games. The original bonus round was triple play. Now, the winner of the main game tried to guess words based on definitions written by 3 different children. Various Child's Play children send in their written definitions. They are credited as Child A, B, or C. Well, and C, anyway. Now, the contestants started by picking one of the 3 children whose definition was then read by Cullen, and then either provide a guess or choose another child's definition. If the player was not able to guess the word after seeing all 3 definitions, they passed to the next word, which that would cost them time. You only have a mere 45 seconds. Now, anyway, you need to get 6 correct answers within the time limit. Now, each correct guess was worth $100, while getting 6 before the time limit expired won $5,000. But even if they don't make it through, they get $100 for each correct answer, as I've already mentioned. And then they can return again to play again, and they can keep winning until as long as they don't get defeated and what have you, and then they retire after 4 more games were played. Now, this was played for mostly over the half a year of the first run. Starting in late April of '83, they replaced triple play with Turnabout, which I thought was a much better one. Now, the winner was joined by 5 of the actual children who were appearing in the film clips and had to describe 7 words to them, similar to the main round from the Pyramid game. Now, each time the champion got a correct answer from a child, they of course won $100 for themselves, and the children won $100 to be split among them. See, all you gotta do is try and describe the word until they can get the kid to say the correct word, okay? Now, if they get stuck on a word, they can say pass, and they can come back to it if there's time. Again, you only have 45 seconds, so you gotta be quick and what have you. Anyway, as long as you don't mess up. If you mess up, they will not go back to that word, and that's an instant loss. Anyway, if the champion was able to get the children to guess all 7 words within the time limit, he or she won 5,000 for him or herself, and the 5 children shared $1,000. Now, as I mentioned just a bit ago, if the player gave an illegal clue, such as saying the word or any form of the word was thrown out, and the player and children lost their chance at the respective top prizes. However, the round continued until time ran out or all of the remaining words had been played. And as I mentioned, champions returned until they were defeated or won 5 consecutive games or reached the wins limit CBS imposed on its game shows, which at the time was $25,000. Anyway, now Child's Play premiered once after the $25,000 pyramid had come back, replacing reruns of CBS's hit comedy Alice, which was still big at the time. As a result of the cancellation of the Tom Kennedy game show, I just said, that's what it's actually called. Anyway, Child's Play faced 2 of NBC's juggernaut games. The network version of Wheel of Fortune, which was still hosted by Chuck Woolery before Pat Sajak even came along, and began in January of '83. NBC's newest West game, Sail of the Century, hosted by Jim Perry, who recently hosted the original Card Sharks facing. However, Child's Play was not able to make any ratings headway against both of these. As a result, in the summer of '83, CBS canceled the show, and its final episode aired in September of that year. Then the following week, they would premiere a game show called Press Your Luck, which did much better, as a matter of fact, and will remain at that time for the next 3 years. Anyway, now after this, Game Show Network, or GSN as it was also known as, re-aired the game show, and also more recently it has aired on Buzzer. Anyway, but they don't air it anymore. But anyway, you can find full episodes of Child's Play on YouTube. You can also find that, there's so far 40 episodes available on Amazon Prime through Buzzer TV presenting vintage game shows on Amazon, so you might be able to catch those. There were several big-time children, before they even became big stars and what have you. Amongst some of them include, Hanala Segal, an actress and writer. Of course, she was under the name Susan Stedner. Jeff Cohen, most of you know him best as who, of course, went under his original name, his birth name, Jeff McMahon. Of course, you knew him best as Chunk from The Goonies. Breckin Meyer, who, of course, would go on to play Spencer. I mean, if Derek Torcorn ever watches this, that's the guy who died in his least favorite death in phrase, Dead the Final Nightmare. But he also appeared in much better flicks like Road Trip. He was also in some underrated or not well-received family movies such as Garfield and Rebound. Let's see. Macy Oka, most of y'all know him best as Hero from NBC's hit series Heroes, as well as Dr. Bergman from the recent reboot of Hawaii Five-O. See, Am Richmond, who of course was who appeared on various fooding series, and even future American Pie and Sharknado stars Tara Reid as well. Really something. Also, Anne Marie Johnson, who of course would later go on to star on What's Happening Now, and also in The Heat of the Night, appeared as a contestant, and even legendary boxer Sugar Ray Robinson appeared in the audience in a 4th of July episode. And Bill introduced him as the boxing coach of one of the Child's Play kids participating in the Turnabout game. Yeah, Bill actually did well at interacting with the children and what have you when Turnabout first came along. We actually did get to meet some other Child's Play kids. There are several really nice kids and what have you. I can't remember all the names of these kids. The only one I can remember is this little red-haired dude, Sasha Segan, which Bill described him as the demon describer. But anyway, all these kids were real good. Since considering, I seem to recall reading that Bill and his wife Anne didn't have any children of their own, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, as always, at the end of every episode, he always says the same thing: "If you like kids, you'll love Child's Play." Yep, it's always a good game. I think I would recommend you watch Child's Play. Again, there's several episodes available on YouTube. You can find some episodes on Bill Cullen Net. That's Bill Cullen Net. That's where you can also find episodes of To Tell the Truth, which he appeared as one of the panelists. Let's see. You can find original Price is Right episodes with him, as well as his next game show, Hot Potato, plus plus Blockbusters episodes, everything. But of course, you can also find 40 episodes of Child's Play on Amazon Prime. Just look up Child's Play Game Show, and you should be able to get to see it. You'll have Child's Play 1983, because these are episodes that came out in 1983, and this was still before the Turnabout round was introduced. So anyway, I really loved Child's Play. This was a pretty good game. After I watched it before I went to school, when I got Game Show Network. Anyway, Child's Play is definitely a good game. If you like if you enjoy a future games like the future games like Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, then you might enjoy Child's Play. This is a game I really wish they'd bring back. This would be a fun experience. And believe me, I think your kids might want to check it out as well. I think they'll really like it. See how youngsters of the '80s stump grown-ups and what have you. But anyway, have any of y'all ever watched the Child's Play game show with Bill Cullen? Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention before I get into the details. I also found out on the Bill Cullen Net YouTube channel, there's also some clue reels they found of various children given the definitions. I haven't taken the time to watch them, but maybe I will sometime if I'm not too busy watching the movies I've been checking out my Fire TV stick light. Anyway, if you've seen the Child's Play game show with Bill Cullen, please tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button below, subscribe to my channel as well, and be a part of the Big G Nation. And next time on the wide world of game shows, I'll be talking about the great game of riddles, Jackpot. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you'd like, check out these last few vids some of these previous vids I did. In the upper left hand corner is the April schedule, in case you didn't get a chance to hear what I've got coming up on the channel this month. Or see him again if you like. Or if you want some real fun, go to the upper right hand corner for my playlist of the Kung Fu Panda trilogy. Or go to the bottom left hand corner for episode number 1 of the Wide World of Game Shows, where I talk about the underrated mid to late 90s dating game Buzz with Annie Wood. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.